Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, to start with, I am a young cricket buff from a country that recently became the world champions, India. My name is Raghavendra. I study in 7th grade. So, I am a really big cricket buff, and when I saw ESPN Cricket Info's all-time 11s, I became a bigger cricket buff. So then I thought, well, it is good to make an all-time 11. So I spent 5 months to make these all-time 11s. So here they are in front of you, and we'll go through one by one. So we have all-time 11s of Australia, England, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, South Africa, West Indies, the 8 test playing nations, the main 8 test playing nations. I have excluded Bangladesh and Zimbabwe. And then you have the all-time World 11A and all-time World 11B. Then you also have an all-time One-Day 11 and all-time T20 11. So I have made a slide on each of these all-time 11s, and I have arranged the cricketers in batting order, and I have also put a picture of the captain. So first, let's go with the greatest cricket team ever. It's Australia. So for the opening for Australia, I had to debate between 6 great guys. They were Messrs. Matthew Hayden, Arthur Morris, Victor Trumper, Mark Taylor, Bill Ponsford and Bob Simpson. And also there was Justin Langer. So 7 guys I had to debate. And then finally, I thought, well, Matthew Hayden and Arthur Morris ought to do the job well. Victor Trumper is a great batsman, but his average is not so great. It's about 39 or 40, but he's a great striker of the ball. But we had to exclude him because his average is not so great. There was Mark Taylor with 44 average. There was Bill Ponsford, who really showed his success in first-class cricket, but not so much in test cricket. There was Bob Simpson. He was in the time during the 1960s and 1970s. Even he was great, but I think Arthur Morris and Matthew Hayden are the greatest. Matthew Hayden because he has a brilliant average. He has 30 centuries. He has a fantastic strike rate. And Arthur Morris, actually Matthew Hayden is not so very consistent, but his average of 51 proves that he is consistent enough to face these great bowlers of the other all-time 11s. And Arthur Morris, according to Don Bradman, was the greatest batsman. And he was in the Australian cricket team with Don Bradman for a long time. He has a healthy average of 46, and also in first-class cricket he has a brilliant average of 53. So this is a beautiful combination, I feel. So the openers are Matthew Hayden and Arthur Morris. Now for the number 3 spot, it was the most highly unanimous picked spot in the whole all-time 11 series. It was the spot of Don Bradman, which I didn't even have to think twice because he is easily the greatest cricketer to have ever played cricket. So Don Bradman is also the captain of this cricket team. He plays at number 3. Then at number 4 and number 5, for the middle order, I had to debate between 5 guys actually. Greg Chappell, Alan Border, Ricky Ponting, Steve Waugh and Neil Harvey. So Ricky Ponting is a modern guy, even Steve Waugh is a modern guy, so both of them are really great batsmen. Ricky Ponting is maybe the closest rival of Sachin Tendulkar, also followed by Lara and Callis. And Ricky Ponting, his main records in test cricket show that he is a really great batsman. He has a brilliant average of 53, he has 39 centuries. In first class cricket too, he has 55, average of 55. He also has the second highest runs in test cricket. But then we had to go by the evidence. The evidence shows that Alan Border had to face the greatest bowling attack. He had to face Dennis Lillee, Malcolm Marshall, Michael Holding, Andy Roberts, Richard Hadley and Imran Khan. So when you have this type of a bowling attack, it would take you a very difficult time to have an average of 50, which Alan Border has. And also he has played a lot of matches. He has played 156 matches and he is the vice captain of this team because he has made Australia win the 1987 World Cup. So Alan Border is one of the middle order batsmen. The other one is Greg Chappell. He is really great, though his attitude is not so great. He is a very great batsman with an average of 53. A similar average of Ponting, but he has brilliant records. Scored a century in his first game, century in his last game, and also he scored 2 centuries in his first game as captain. So Greg Chappell is great too. So then finally I had to let go of Neil Harvey because even he is great. He has a brilliant average of 48. and 51 in first class cricket. But the main point in all-time 11 is, it's not enough if you are great, you need to be the greatest. So we had to drop Ricky Ponting and Steve O and also Neil Harvey, even though they are the great guys, because Alan Border and Greg Chappell are the greater guys. So then this is the middle order, Greg Chappell and Alan Border. And for the all-rounder spot, it's totally decided. It's Kate Miller, without a doubt. Maybe followed at a long distance by Richie Bernard, but Kate Miller is really great. He has a brilliant batting average of 36 in test and 48 in first class, which is a very great batting average for an all-rounder, and also 22 bowling average in first class cricket. So Kate Miller is the second unanimous choice in this all-time 11. Then for the wicketkeeper spot, I had to debate between Gilchrist, Marsh and Healy. And finally I chose Gilchrist for his brilliant average of 4.3 dismissals every match. And also he has a brilliant batting average of 47 and also one of the greatest strikers of the ball. He smashes a lot of runs. Sixes, fours, everywhere, all over the ground. Even the greatest bowlers here against Gilchrist. Scared of Gilchrist. Then Rodney Marsh, he is a very close contestant with 3.6 dismissals every match, and some of his catches are just stupendous. Even Ian Healy is great. But then I had to choose Gilchrist because he is really the greatest. Now, as Kate Miller is the all-rounder, he is a fast bowler. So we can afford to have 2 spinners and 2 other fast bowlers. Then the spinners, Warren is another unanimous choice. He is the greatest spinner the cricket has ever seen. And also Shane Warne's leg spin balls can be faced only by the maestro Sachin Tendulkar. Others struggle against him. So then the other spinner is Bill O'Reilly. He is not a very famous guy because he is a really ancient cricketer. And according to Don Bradman, Bill O'Reilly was the greatest bowler he had ever seen. And he is a great spinner with a bowling average of 14 in first class. And then, so now these are the 2 spinners, and the 2 fast bowlers are Glenn McGrath and Dennis Lilly. Glenn McGrath is the greatest modernist, maybe also followed by Wasim Akram and Dale Steyn, who is getting greater and greater every day. And so Glenn McGrath is one of the fast bowlers. He is a really great bowler. He has a bowling average of 21 and he has the highest wickets for a pace bowler with 563. And then there is Dennis Lilly, who is considered one of the greatest bowlers of all time. He was maybe one of the greatest bowlers in that medieval period, when there were great cricketers, great batsmen, great all-rounders, great wicket-keepers and also great fast bowlers. So he emerged to be one of the greatest of them all, and also he was mostly partnered with his, partnered by Jeff Thompson, another great Australian fast bowler, who sometimes has bowled faster deliveries than Shoaib Akhtar or Brett Lee. So Dennis Lilly is one of them, and he has got 355 wickets in just 70 matches. That is just fantastic. He gets almost more than 5 wickets a match. Also a bowling average of 23, and according to Ian Chappell, a famous commentator, Dennis Lilly is the greatest bowler cricket has ever seen. So then, this is the Australian all-time, and if you have any doubts, please email at Raghavendra, Raghavendra @ebirds.com, and hope you like it. Thank you.